Hello, welcome back. My name is Lara and here I talk all things makeup no buy, conscious consumerism, beauty community, sustainable beauty, ethical beauty, all that sort of stuff. First of all, there's some construction going on 2 doors down. I can't hear it normally, but then I listen back to the audio and it's terrible. So I hope I won't have that issue, but if I do, I apologize in advance. I will try to enunciate. So I wanted to do a video on fast beauty or fast makeup, but I started doing research and I started filming and it ended up being way more information than I could cover in one video. So I'm probably going to split this up into 2 parts or do one 20-minute video, but more likely do 2 shorter videos. If you are interested in no buys or declutters, you can check out some of my other content right here. Let's hop right in. So I hope I'm not going to be too all over the place with this video, but there are a number of different topics that I want to hit. So I'll just sort of be going through them one by one. I'll be talking about what fast beauty is. I will be comparing fast beauty to fast fashion. I'll be talking about where fast beauty actually started and why it isn't sustainable. So I know that fast fashion is sort of a buzzy term these days. Everyone knows what it is and that it's not a good thing. It's something to stay away from. Even if we are not able to cut fast fashion out of our lives, we know that we should be at least cutting down, right? It's sort of like meat products. Like we know that we should be eating less meat. But I don't feel like this sort of dialogue has translated to the beauty industry as much. And I actually had to do a bit of digging to find information on fast beauty. Now, I thought it was called fast makeup, but the term fast beauty actually encompasses skincare, hair care, all personal care products. And this makes sense to me to sort of combine everything under this umbrella term. Now, before I get into it, I just wanted to mention that I started a podcast with my friend Cheryl. It is called Watch the Film With Us. We are both big film buffs, and during quarantine we wanted a way to connect. We're living in 2 different continents right now, and it's just a really fun thing to do, to watch movies together and to talk about them. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, then definitely check that out here. I'm not able to link it directly from the card, but if you click in the description down below, you'll be able to find it, or if you search on the podcast app or Spotify, Watch the Film With Us. We also have a Twitter, so check that out. Now back to our regular programming, fast makeup or fast beauty. Now, fast beauty and fast fashion are very, very similar, and to my mind, the 2 main issues that each of these industries have are exactly the same, which is sustainability and ethics. So both are terrible for the environment. I mean, if you look up the stats on how much clothing is thrown out every year or how many personal care items are thrown out every year, it's horrible. And also the ethics behind these products. So how are they made? Who is making your clothes? Who is making your makeup products? What are they being paid? Are they being paid a living wage? Where are they being made? So the same sorts of questions we can ask about both industries, and generally the same answers are provided from both industries. So what does the term fast beauty mean? According to this article, the term fast beauty typically applies to companies that prioritize staying on top of buzzy trends and formulations by drastically slashing the turnaround time typically required from product conception to launch. So back in the day, it might have taken, let's say, 6 months to a year for a product to go from the idea to fruition to shipping out to customers. And now it might only take a matter of months or a matter of weeks. This article talks about how this is now the norm. This is how the makeup industry operates now. And because this is what is expected, now all companies have to sort of keep up with this rapid pace in order to stay on the market. Otherwise, they just won't be able to compete. So similarities and differences between fast fashion and fast beauty. They're not exactly the same because, of course, they're creating different products, but I have found that cheap makeup brands aren't as bad quality-wise as cheap clothing brands. So if you're buying clothing from Forever 21, you know it's not going to last very long. It's made for a couple of seasons. Whereas if I'm thinking of really, really cheap makeup, such as e.l.f. or Colourpop, these are the 2 that come to mind. These are pretty high quality products. I've been really impressed with everything I've tried from Colourpop, and I haven't purchased from e.l.f. in a long time, but everything that's coming out now is getting pretty good reviews, and I have a number of e.l.f. brushes that I've had like since the beginning, since I started wearing makeup. Now, this might be part of the reason that people are really demanding change from fast fashion companies, because they can see that their clothing is falling apart and They're not okay with that. Whereas your makeup doesn't really tend to fall apart, so it's not as obvious that something is low quality. Another thing is that makeup doesn't really go out of style. There may be certain shades that are in for the season, but I find that for makeup, what's in style is more techniques that are being used, like soap brows or sunset eyes. You know, these are techniques. These are not specific products that have gone in and out of style. Though makeup does go bad, and that's something that doesn't happen with clothing. Your clothing doesn't go bad. Now, in terms of which industry is worse for the environment, fashion or beauty, I don't think there's a lot of consensus around this. That article I was speaking about earlier argued that beauty has a lower impact because you're not doing as much dyeing of fabrics as you are with clothing, and there's not as much plastic, but there's a ton of plastic when it comes to makeup. I mean, the way it's packaged, what it's wrapped in, even the makeup itself tends to be plastic rather than cardboard. And another thing is that clothing can at least be resold or, you know, given to secondhand stores or to Goodwill. With makeup, it's much more difficult to find another home. If you're not able to find someone in your immediate circle of family and friends who wants that makeup, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to sell it to another person, because most people just aren't comfortable with using secondhand makeup, which is completely understandable. So where did it all begin? Where did fast beauty start? Now, I want to be clear that cost is not necessarily what makes something a fast beauty company. So there are some really, really low cost brands such as e.l.f., and these aren't necessarily fast beauty, though they very well may be. It was really Colourpop that was the first fast makeup company, and they sort of use this term in a positive way. They're proud of this label. So it really started with Colourpop, and Colourpop hasn't been around that long. The problem is that the Colourpop method works. Colourpop is doing extremely well, and so other brands will see this and say, that worked for them, why don't we try that as well? And because of this, we're seeing other brands that are doing these sort of launches where they're pumping out way more products every year than they used to, simply because there is that demand. They know that people will buy the products. And with Colourpop, these things have such a short life on their website. If something was being sold a year ago, you're probably not going to be able to find it on their website today to purchase it, because there is just such a quick overturn of inventory. They're constantly pumping out new products. And the problem with fast beauty products, not only that they're really bad environmentally to create and have all sorts of ethical problems, though I do think that Colourpop is made in the US, so that is good, because at least that way their workers are being paid a living wage. Fast beauty products are not meant to be loved a long time. They are not meant to be sort of an investment piece that you have on your shelf for years and years. They're the opposite of sustainable beauty because they are discontinued so quickly. And even when you're just looking through the Colourpop Instagram, you can see that all of the products that are being featured are recent releases. They're not things that were released back in 2019 or even 6 months ago. They're constantly just advertising their new products. And to an extent, this makes sense. This is how companies work. And I think it's important to say here, I love the Colourpop products that I've tried. I think they're a super inclusive brand, and they actually do a lot of stuff really, really well. They're low cost, they're really good quality, they're vegan, cruelty-free, ethically made, they claim, because they are made in the United States. So they do a lot of stuff really well. On the surface, Colourpop seems like a great brand, but the one thing that they're missing is sustainability. They are creating so many products with such a high turnaround that they are not sustainable. And the problem is that they don't really seem to see this issue. One of the founders said it's all about applying the fast fashion model to beauty. As I said before, they see this fast fashion label that they've been given as a positive. So I mean, just the sheer amount of product that they're creating shows that even if you proclaim to be ethical, ethics isn't just about how you're treating your workers, it's also about the impact that you're having on the world. On the other side of this, we as consumers are eating this up. A lot of companies are, as we've been seeing in recent months, have made a lot of important changes because of the response of their consumers. They're saying, we don't like the way you did this was a terrible thing you did, and they're encouraging companies to change. But with Colourpop and similar companies, they have no reason to change because we as consumers are just eating up whatever they put out. And these companies, if they're making such a huge profit, they see no problem and there's no reason for them to change. Why should they? People are still buying from them. Now, from a cost standpoint, I feel like it could go either way. It's great that Colourpop is inexpensive because it means it's accessible to people who don't have the funds to be buying huge amounts of makeup all the time. But on the other hand, it's encouraging people to buy far more makeup. I mean, just if you look through their Instagram, they're encouraging you to buy all 9 palettes that they've just released and this sort of thing. And I totally bought into this kind of marketing when I was younger. I used to be all about buying cheap makeup, all about quantity over quality, and now I wish I hadn't been like that. I wish that I had invested in more expensive pieces that lasted longer rather than cheaper pieces that I got bored of really quickly. And at the end of the day, I don't think that I was saving any money by buying cheaper products. I was spending just as much, but just buying more and creating more waste. I just finished filming and this video is way too long to be just one video, so I am splitting it into 2 parts. We are stopping the video here. If you found this interesting, definitely come back next week for part 2. Subscribe to my channel if you find this content interesting and let me know what else you would like me to speak about. I hope this wasn't too rambly. I know it was a little bit all over the place because there was just so much to cover with fast beauty. I know that I definitely learned a lot when I was researching this. I watched a couple of videos that talk about fast beauty, but there honestly weren't that many, not nearly as many as there are about fast fashion. So hopefully we will see more information coming out about this industry because it's just as bad as fast fashion. It really is. So thanks so much for watching. Please click the like button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Sorry I changed my hair, but just want to be clear, I have loved the products that I've purchased from Colourpop and I am really impressed with them as a brand. I just wish that they would stop coming out with so many constant releases and to stop discontinuing so many of their products. I wish they would see themselves higher than that, see themselves as investment pieces, even though it's much cheaper.